Clasp for your mask. It's the perfect gift for your friends and family this holiday season. This new antibacterial mask comes with a removable necklace so you can wear your mask safely when not in use. Stay safe and stylish. Whether you're taking a bite, a sip, or a breath of fresh air, you can feel confident knowing your mask is always secure around your neck. Clasp for your mask ensures that the wearer will never leave their mask behind or have to place it down on an unsanitary surface. It's reusable, easy to wash, and fast drying. Hands-free, germ-free, worry-free. Right now, all products are 50% off on their website. Use promo code ROCKY for an extra 10% off your entire order from now till December 9th. Check them out on Instagram at Clasp for Your Mask. That's CLASPFORYOURMASK or claspforyourmask.com. Remember, all products are currently 50% off, but when you use promo code ROCKY, you'll get an extra 10% off your entire order. I got mine. Get yours. Check out My Expression. Greeting cards that will crack you up. Something new, fresh, and original. Use the exclusive code ROCKY from now till December 16th to receive 15% off when you buy any 2 items in the shop. Get excited and shop myeggspression.com today. That's my EGGSPRESSION.com. I asked my brother how much he thought the copyrights to the song Wild Thoughts by Rihanna would be, because I wanted that to be my opening music. And he said, really expensive, Rocky. It's a huge hit mainstream song. So, that will not be my opening music. But it kind of gave you a vision of the direction I want this podcast to go in. Thank you so much for tuning into my first episode ever. Last time I ever get to say that sentence. I started this podcast because I'm trying to decide, am I a reformed wild child due to the pandemic, or if I'm just on hiatus? I know for sure that I am in hibernation. So, in the meantime, I thought I would start a podcast talking to some of the coolest people I know and listen to wild stories from their lives. This is not limited to sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's any story that they want to share that's wild to them, but I bet there will be some sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So before we get to my first guest, it's time for a segment I'm calling The Rocky Rundown. So this week, super exciting, I got a $25 fine from the city of New York. And I know you're thinking, Rocky, did you get caught having sex in a Starbucks bathroom? To which I would say, first, ew. No, we're in a pandemic, and I would never have sex in a Starbucks bathroom. Artisanal coffee shop that served beer and wine after 6 p.m., a little different. But I got a $25 fine because I put styrofoam in my recycling. The bag was clear. One of the sanitation workers, I guess, saw it because it wasn't even the recycling people that gave me the fine. And you know, whatever, it's my fault. I put the styrofoam in there. I should know better than that, but I guess I was just being lazy. I did have to take the styrofoam out of the recycling because I was afraid I was going to get another fine. So that was a sight if anybody happened to be driving by and saw me rummaging through the recycling for styrofoam. Pretty on brand for 2020. But I knew what I did was wrong, so I felt guilty and I decided to make up for it. Besides paying the fine, I am going to switch to paperless billing for my internet bill. They've been asking for months, do you want to switch to paperless? Do you want to switch to paperless? And I was being lazy, and now because I was kind of not nice to Mother Nature, I want to make up for it. And I think if at least one of you also switch to paperless billing, then it'll be like we planted a tree. If 5 of you do it, it'll be like we planted a rainforest. Be the change you wish to see in the world, guys. Seriously. My first guest ever is Rich Templeton. Rich is my friend for a really long time. We've traveled together, we've partied together, and back in the day when seeing people was actually acceptable, I used to love running into Rich. I didn't know going in what story he was going to tell, and I'm so happy I didn't because it was absolutely wild. And he bumped himself up to officially one of the smartest people I know, and you'll find out why. I asked him beforehand if he could give me a phrase or a word to describe what story he was going to tell me, and he said the word was, So that's all I knew, and that's all you know, but now you're going to listen. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the podcast, share it if your fingers move in that direction, and enjoy my chat with my friend Rich Templeton. Rich, I'm so happy to see you.
I'm happy to see you, Rocky. It's been a bit.
It's been a bit. How's your pandemic been?
Really awful. No, well, yeah, why not? Yeah, I mean,
Be honest.
Everything in shambles. Be honest. Yeah, no, it's been not the best. Although one good thing, there's obviously, and people have obviously people have, hashed this out. We all have, whether it's politically, geopolitically. I was in a boot for most of the summer.
Okay.
And the fall, so that
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, no. So I hurt my dumb foot, and then I was in a boot for basically from August till maybe a few weeks ago. So that stunk. That really stunk. But
How did you end up in the boot? Were you kicking coronavirus ass?
I was doing windmills. I was doing Jean-Claude. I was Jean-Claude Van Damme in it. I wish I would. Damn, yeah. I wish. No, because of being in lockdown, I would go on these extremely long walks. Like I'd walk from like the 100th Street over to the east side, like all the way around the perimeter of Manhattan. But I'd like walk like, I don't know, maybe like 20 miles a day. I'd go to like Brooklyn and Queens just to get out.
Oh my God.
And so I was just like, I need to get outside. So I was just like trekking like every day. And then, I found out months later that I had a torn a tendon. So
were you wearing the right shoes?
I was wearing like Timberlands. I was
okay.
like hiking boots. So I'm sure that didn't help. I was, so that's kind of been like monopolizing my time, or at least it was, but I'm in a much better place now. But.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, me and Isabel, actually, we took a huge walk. I met her in Brooklyn in front of her place, and then she and I walked over, I think it was the Williamsburg Bridge.
Yeah.
All down the Lower East Side. Then we walked the High Line, which was super weird.
Yeah.
You need a ticket to walk the High Line now. And then I think we just walked past Times Square, across, and then over the Ed Koch. Ever heard of it?
Yes, Eddie Koch. Yeah,
Eddie Koch. We walked over there, and then I walked back to my place in Astoria. Stalkers, for the stalkers that are listening. And her feet were hurting pretty bad. But I think she wore Doc Martens classic.
That is, you know what? If I ever think of Izzo, I think of Doc Martens.
Yeah.
Although, interestingly enough, I think, is Fran Drescher show, which for
free plug,
yeah. But for the listener out here, mutual friend of ours, Isabel. Oh man, I'm sorry. I don't mean to like be stepping on your.
This is perfect.
But put on a really great show at Dixon Place.
Yeah. We're going to have to block out the first half of that word. This is a family.
Right. Thank you.
It was at Sin Place?
Sin Place. Yeah, Sin Place. Not to be confused with Sin City, a greatest American movie of all time.
Oh, I was thinking the strip club in the Bronx.
Oh, Sin City. Oh my, yes, of course. Yeah.
Amateur Thursdays.
Right. Yeah. I grew up in commuted a lot and grew up in like Westchester, so north. So I passed by Sin City.
Did you ever audition?
Did I ever? Yeah, no, they said I was too gammy. I don't know. Yeah.
I would say you're too gamey.
Gamey. Oh, okay.
Both in texture and brand.
And brand. Oh yeah, Rich Templeton brand. Throw people in a room and just yell at them for an hour. That's the brand.
That's not you. That's not you.
That's not me.
I'm already laughing so hard my makeup's running, so that's great news. So Rich, I was trying to rack my brain on how we first became friends, but I don't think there was an exact moment. Like, I don't remember the moment where I was like, oh, introduced to you. We were both just around, I think.
I agree. Yeah, like obviously through the pit, and improv and everything like that. I'm trying to think of, were you ever part of like the 10,000 hours program or anything?
No, skipped it. Famously skipped it.
Yeah, no, you know what? That is Rocky Powell in a nutshell. If Isabel Owens, you think Doc Martens, Rocky Powell, doesn't need 10,000 hours. No,
she needs 20.
Malcolm Gladwell. No.
Wrote it. I gave him all the tips to write that book. So
100%.
He was just Malcolm Glad okay before he met me.
That was, that was solid. I was trying to think of some wordplay.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I've really been doing comedically is just really awful wordplay. But yours was good. Oh God. Now I'm not trying to, you know what I mean. Yeah.
Mine was well.
Yeah. You're glad well. Yeah.
I have a confession too. So I was looking at your Instagram yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago, and I missed a like. You know when you go to like a friend's Instagram and you're like, oh, I never liked this post, but then it feels a little too late to like it.
Yes, yeah.
It feels a little stalker-esque.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this now, and then when we're off the episode, I will go back and like this. I might even share it this week.
Okay.
It was like a haiku poem.
Oh yeah, it was pack it up, pack it in.
Yes. House of something.
I can't smoke weed because I'm allergic to sin.
Yes.
House of God.
Oh God, that was so funny. Your puns are hilarious, which is why you are my first guest.
More puns, more guns.
Yeah, I'm gonna need 100 puns before the episode is over. But no, I couldn't remember where you and I knew each other from. Like, besides, like, a proper intro, but I remember you doing the short show.
Yeah, okay.
With our mutual friend. I went to college with him, Grant Lancaster, and then you met him after college.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. So was it, was that the first time we like met or? Like
I said, I don't know when we met. We have no anniversary.
That's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. But we have had, even though we don't have an official anniversary, we have a lot of good times under our belt.
Oh my goodness. We have so many good times. I mean, obviously the biggest time was, of course, Ireland. And as I always feel a need to to supply some context.
Yes, please.
So for me, going into it, I don't know if you remember this part, but I wasn't scheduled to go or anything like that.
Yes, no, you weren't.
I took, I believe, Taylor Ortega's place. I was chilling, and then 24 hours later, boom, in Dublin.
So just for a little bit of context for anybody listening, on this trip, we were outside of the town of Dingle, which is a real town and a real name. And we were kind of like at this Airbnb, but we went to this bar that had nobody in it. There were 7 of us on the trip. So it was us and the bartender.
The thing I remember most was we were traversing these extremely narrow roadways in the hills of Ireland, like on the coast. That was a time.
But speaking of time, before you came on the podcast, I asked you to give me a word or a phrase that would describe this story. So to anybody listening, I do not know the wild story that Rich is about to tell us. I have not heard it before. Maybe through the grapevine I've heard it, but I've not heard the story. So I have no idea what he's going to tell us. But I asked him to give me a word or a phrase to describe it. And the word he gave me, and feel free to give me a line reading. The word he gave me was,
Yeah, like that. And whether it, I won't even directly describe it. I would say it's potentially both a product of the story or stories, because I was like trying to go back in my head.
Got it.
About like what story or like kind of compilation of things to tell. So it was my first day like taking care of this liquid radioactive waste. So for those not familiar, like radioactivity, right? When you think radioactivity, you might think of like, you know, atomic bombs, right? So it's like kind of intense stuff. In lab settings, you typically work at it at a relatively low level, but you have to take a lot of like precautions, right?
Got it.
So I'm like the guy who was helping out with me, Brendan, was like, all right, yeah, no, it's like pretty simple. And I like took the waste, and this was actually my first day where I was doing it all by myself, right? So the first thing with dealing with radioactivity is like you want to be able to measure it. So you take like a Geiger counter. So a Geiger counter is like the beep 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 thing.
Of course, yeah. Everyone knows a Geiger counter.
Everyone knows.
Everyone listening to this definitely knows.
Yeah. So, you know, like as one does, you know, standard P32 radionuclide. Anyway,
you're speaking my language.
Your language, yeah,
my language.
And I bring it over and I see that, like, of course, the radioactive waste itself, you would expect to go beep 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 beep, right, like really high. Mm-hmm. So, just to like double check, and this is the first time I'm also ever really dealing with radioactivity. So probably someone still should have been. This is probably why I left like labs in general, because I also wasn't, I wasn't the most adept at these things, as we will soon find out. So I bring it to this literal radioactive closet, which is like has this like 1 to 2 inch thick like plastic. I put it behind there, and I'm like dun dun dun. And then I remember, oh yeah, I need to like have the radioactive or the Geiger counter to see if any leaked, which of course wouldn't happen.
No.
So I was going around and I did like a little traipsing, and then I went back to my bench, and then I was like, I should probably just check it again. And I go back over, and I notice that there's a stream of beep 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 going there, and I was like, oh my God, this is a serious. And I was like, because of course I'm new there, so I'm like, I didn't want to get fired, so I was just like, I didn't know where to go, so I went to a grad student in the lab, and I was like, hey man, am I going crazy? And he goes down and he like looks around, and it's like, for him, it was just like beep beep beep. He was like, yeah, that's nothing. And then he goes to a certain spot, and it's just like, and I'm like, oh my God. And he was just like very calm, from England. I'm not even going to attempt to do an accent because
no, you can.
Okay. Well, he's like, all right. No, see, I know I can't. Now I'm going like Irish. I'm saying like potty.
Trust me, you're not doing Irish.
I'm not doing, oh my God, whatever. Or I'm going to, you know what? It eventually devolves into some type of like Australian, Jamaican, anything like that. But he was, I'm good. I can't. Basically, he was just like, okay, we have a bit of a situation here. That is so. I can't. The Kiwi comes out. When
you tell this story, tell people he was Australian, and then you're gonna nail the accent.
So he was from Perth, right? And he was like, hey. Right, I think we've got a bit of a situation here, right? So I'm like, oh no, what do I do? He was like, okay, we're just gonna like clean it up, like, and it'll be fine. Just put a little area around there, and it was fine. And so I go back to my bench, and I was still like curious. I have a little bit of like, although it comes and goes. I can go from like very much a space cadet to like OCD, like ADD to OCD. Yeah. And it was just like, and probably in this situation, it's probably better to be OCD than not.
Right.
So I take the Geiger counter again, and I was like, all right, another rule of radioactivity is like, you always want to check yourself, right? Like you don't want it on your hands. And I check
before you wreck yourself.
Before you think TYSM.
Thank you so much.
TYSM. I then go around, I'm like, okay. And then, I go down and I'm like checking my legs, it's fine. And then I go to my New Balances, and it starts buzzing like a mother. And I'm like, oh, and I go back to the grad student, and I'm like, and he was like, okay, take off your shoes right now. And I was like, okay. And he was like, now. And he was like obviously being very stern, because I literally have radioactivity on me.
Yeah.
So he was just like, all right, like he takes my shoes, we throw it into the radioactive waste. I'm shoeless at this point.
Yeah.
And I am just like, I'm also very embarrassed, but I'm also very terrified that I have also ingested radioactivity at this point.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just like, what is going on? And so I eventually, like another grad student there, like got me some shoes. I think I wore Skechers that day, but the thing so the radioactivity portion kind of ended. Like we were able to clean it up. My shoes were back there, and with this type of radioactivity, pretty much it degrades. Like within 2 months, it's basically like nothing.
Got it.
Right. It's so I don't know if I ever retrieved those shoes, but that day or the next day, I had another laboratory mishap. So by this point, the entire floor already knows that I dropped radioactivity like throughout the hall. So that wasn't good. And then the next day I was like, I forgot exactly what happened, but I think I might've been like pouring, like nothing like serious solutions, but it might've been like a sugar solution, or I forgot, a salt solution. And pretty much there was some type of like, I think it might've been a bit hot, but I got like it, or what was it? I forgot exactly what, but pretty much something like went in my eye, right? So something's in my eye, and I'm like, okay, like you've gotten something in your eye, and you go like, all the time, right? That's half my job. That's how I declare my income. Yes.
Was it a speck of something, or was it more like a liquid drop it?
It was a speck of something. I was thinking back, and it was now when I think back, it wasn't even, this is even more pathetic. It wasn't even lab related. Now I remember back, I think I was like compartmentalizing the lab. I was going to lunch, and I was coming back from lunch. It's even stupider. And a freaking like bus, with the diesel exhaust or whatever, just plows me in the face. This is now I'm having like sense memories. I'm coming back, plows me in the face, and I'm like, it was like a freaking cartoon character, like or in like so it's like soot all on my face. I'm walking back with another lab mate, just like like that. So I'm like, oh man, this happens all the time. And I'm like, my eye, like it's still like, I was able to get it out the left but not the right, and it was still in there. And so I'm coming back in the lab with like my eye like kind of whatever swollen and stuff, and I'm like, I literally just had radioactivity. So then and it felt like something was like scratching there. So like they sent me down, mind you, the day after radioactivity, they sent me down to the nurse's office at the university, and the nurse was just like, all right, well, we'll try this out. So she takes like what appears to be a squirt bottle and has me open my eye, and she just starts like, as basic as that, just like starts squirting me
like a super soaker.
Like a super soaker, yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's not working. And and she was like, oh, okay. So I get sent to the emergency room, which is like a couple blocks away. This is on a Friday night.
Yeah.
And
so you had plans.
I had huge plans. I think it was like World Series time. So I go to the emergency room, and pretty much they get me in there, and it was like a younger, I think like resident or something like that, and he had like kind of like a surfer persona. He was just like, dude, you're gonna be like okay. And I was like, that does not engender any confidence in me, right? So they take in what, I don't know if anyone out there has ever gotten their eyes like kind of cleaned out, but they take in what I believe a nurse affectionately called Bertha. And Bertha was this like 1 liter saline bag, attached to which was like this cloth-like contact lens. So what they did was they opened my eye completely and draped this entire contact lens on my eyeball. And like, it was water torture.
Yeah.
They drip the saline solution to like rid it out. And as I'm doing that for about, I don't know, I think it was like a half hour, 45 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I'm already like, I'm probably already going to get fired by for radioactivity. Two, it's just like this idiot gets, like M79 bus soot in his freaking eye. Like, what is that about? And so I'm just like, I'm just like kind of beside myself. And the surfer doctor comes in. He was like, how's your eye doing, dude? And I was just like, well, it's kind of difficult to assess given that I have an entire like contact lens like draped over my eyeball.
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, man, do you think we got it out? He's like, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, man. And he was like, oh, interesting. Cool. And he just like pieces out. And eventually I think they forgot about me for a while. So I was on there for, I guess, longer than expected. But then the nurse came in and got me off there. And yeah, and
you said the nurse got you off there.
Yeah.
So just clear that up for everybody. Did the nurse give you a hand job, or she took the apparatus off my ocular area, and so that's what we're calling it. Worse. Yeah, we're calling it an apparatus. Okay.
Oh my God. You're putting words in my mouth.
If you guys are looking to support a new Black Latinx business this holiday season, check out De La Vibes Boutique. They have everything from shirts to keychains to earrings, not to mention they are affordable, yes. And with my promo code Wild Nights, you're going to get 10% off your entire order. So check them out at De La Vibes Boutique on Instagram or delavibesboutique.com. And remember, use promo code Wild Nights for 10% off your entire order now till December 31st. That's promo code Wild Nights at delavibesboutique.com. Mountain Mama Magic is a holistic health company specializing in long-distance Reiki, chakra candle making, and other spiritual health products. All candles are 100% soy and scented with clean fragrances, made with essential oils, and free of harsh chemicals. Visit the website Mountain Mama Magic, magic spelled MAGICK.com, and use the code Rocky to get free shipping on all your orders. That's Mountain Mama Magic, magic spelled MAGICK.com, and use the code Rocky to get free shipping on all orders from now till January 6th.
There we go.
Oh my God. We're back.
You're back.
Yeah, so
the nurse finished you off, and then
finished, and then I gave a word or two to the surfer doctor. No, and then I left, and I think I saw like whatever World Series game. I think this was also a string of things where I also like lost my cell phone, and like someone, like the guy called me, and I met him in like, I don't know, 110th and like Park Avenue, and he like, I kind of got, deservedly so, fleeced out of about $200. Anyway, so all of this all was kind of like an accumulation of, various lab stories, like in quick succession of each other. So.
Yeah. Wow. How old were you when all this was going down?
Oh, it was out of college. So I must have been like 22 or so.
Okay. So it was like fresh out of college.
Yeah. No, it was my first like job.
Did you get fired?
No, I was there a very long time.
Okay.
Yeah, I was there. I mean, this was like literally years and years before I ever did any, one before we met, or, before I did any like improv or any comedy stuff. So yeah, no, I worked in a lab a long time, and like I guess the only real like I would work in late into the night, and I'd be pipetting like these yeast solutions. Jeez, yeast solutions finish. It's just like, it's too much.
You're saying now that you worked with yeast solutions?
Yes. What yeast solution? Oh my God.
Is that what you're saying? I'm asking you.
Yeah. No. I worked with yeast. I worked with Baker's yeast.
Okay. Just making sure it was Baker's yeast.
But yes, no, yes. So
I'm not gonna hold that against you because you got a bad eye.
I got a bad eye. I already said I had a bad foot.
Do you think the bus driver was in on it, Rich?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. He sees like just very anxious, nervous kid walking the streets of First Ave on the Upper East Side, and was like, you know what, he needs to learn something about life. And that's going to be diesel exhaust to the ocular jelly. So
wow,
that'll be the deal.
Honestly, that was really wild.
Well, okay, good, because I was thinking of like various stories, and I was like, oh, this one might be, I don't know, because I guess I haven't really talked much about like or even thought much about like my lab life, but like I was thinking of other ones, like my first concert when I was 15, and which was Paul Simon and Bob Dylan.
Okay.
At Madison Square Garden.
Who did you go with?
Well, it was for a friend's 15th birthday.
Naturally.
So it was all, I guess, is go. All right, well, we're just gonna do it. It's a quick one, but pretty much we all go there and having a good time, as it were, when you're a teenage child.
Yeah.
And so it got to a point where one of our friends had some things, whether it was ADD medication or what have you.
Yeah.
But it got to a point when we were leaving, he takes up a wet floor sign and starts yelling piso mojado, piso mojado, piso mojado. So all of us start yelling piso with the wet floor sign.
Oh wet floor, yeah.
Yeah, right. As I'm trying
in Espanol.
Mm-hmm. In Espanol, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And going outside, and then I see a cop coming up as a gaggle of boys are screaming piso mojado, piso mojado. And he takes the sign and leaves, and we don't know where he goes. And we like kind of try to follow him and meet him in front of like MSG. And then the cop, and we're like, what's going on? What's going on? The cop comes towards me and says, you're going to get arrested too. And I was like, for what? Like, and then he says to me, for spitting. And I was like, what are you talking about? Now, for context, I played a lot of baseball then. So I was in a habit of like spitting sunflower seeds a lot, right?
Okay, I thought you were gonna say you dipped.
I did. I never really dipped. I had a lot of people. Who knew. Have you ever dipped?
Oh no, I haven't dipped, but I had a friend who dipped in high school. Thank you for asking, because no one ever asked me if I dip, and I'm just like tired of people not asking if I dip. I could dip. No, I had a friend in high school who dipped, and he always had a Gatorade bottle with him or some kind of like plastic bottle with him, and the lump on the side, I thought something was wrong with his mouth because he was quiet. So it wasn't until I didn't know he was subtle. I didn't know he was dipping. So until one day he was in my bedroom with a bunch of my friends and he spit, and I'm like, oh, that's all brown. What are you doing? And then somebody spoke for him and said he was dipping. But anyways.
Yeah. No, dip is, I mean, I think maybe, when I was a teenager or something, I did it like once or twice. And I think I, accidentally swallowed some and was like, oh, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah, no.
But, right. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah.
He said, he was going to arrest you for spitting.
For spitting. Yes. And I was just like, what's happening? Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm like talking to this other cop. I'm taken away from like the other kids. Mind you, we're like 15-year-old boys.
Yeah.
And by this point, a crowd started gathering around.
Of course.
Because it was like, what's going on? They're like these cops and these kids, and the cop takes me back to kind of the wall or a wall in front of MSG, and says, all right, you're lucky, jackass. Like I know he used to use jackass.
Was he an Irish cop from the 50s?
It was potty.
Potty. You're lucky, jackass.
Oh, imagine that if it was potty all along. Oh my goodness.
No wonder you were so like freaked out in the car in Ireland. You thought he was taking you to the big house.
I think so. I was like, I can't. And particularly after, when you see Dylan and Simon.
No.
That's next level. But he says, he said again, like, you're lucky, jackass. I have no summons tickets. And then he like gets in my face and he says, all I ask from you is for the rest of the night to not spit again. And I go, okay. And I immediately spat right on or next to his shoe. And he had a moment out of like a Charlie Chaplin film or whatever and had like a quadruple take. And he pushes me up against a wall and says, what's your problem, jackass? And another cop comes over and all my friends were like, no. Like I am not trying to be like that guy of like, oh yeah, no, I just clearly had a legitimate, at that point in my life, a legitimate, just like nervous, whatever, spittoonsy problem.
Yeah.
It's just the timing of it was just so impeccable of like, do not spit again. Okay. Like,
oh my God.
Like if I was trying to make a heavy move, I made like the heaviest move.
Yeah.
But my reaction to it was like, no. But fortunately, the other cops came over, and I like, yeah. I mean, it also, I mean, goodness, like, very lucky, and also speaks to, also, yeah, it was a gaggle of 15-year-old suburban boys.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like, in terms of the level of, privilege.
You guys were gonna get a slap on the wrist probably, unless you like got physical.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly. So like yeah. And
wow.
Yeah. So
whew.
that was another night. But yeah, and I have not spit again.
Have you seen Paul Simon in concert again?
Yo, here's the thing. I saw Simon and Garfunkel at Mohegan Sun.
I love Mohegan Sun.
Yeah.
I've seen Justin Timberlake in Mohegan Sun.
Ooh, okay.
And Alicia Keys.
Okay.
And Motley Crue and Poison.
Whoa, really?
Really.
Yo, I saw Journey. We'll come back to Motley Crue, but I saw Journey for $20 or $15 or something. Yeah, but Motley Crue and Poison, wow, that's freaking awesome.
It was. It wasn't my choice. I was invited by my mom and her two sisters, my aunts, and I went with them and almost got into a fight and on the casino floor because I was trying to show my aunt Dee how to play roulette. Because at the time, I was going to the casinos a lot, and I was trying to show her how to play roulette, and we like played a hand a wheel spin really quick, and then got out, and this guy was like, "You can't just come in and come out," and I was like thinking I was hot shit and drunk on beers, dipping, and I thought I was tough shit. And nothing happened with the guy, but he was not a big fan. Like, it's the crowd that's going to be at a Motley Crue Poison concert at Mohegan Sun. And it was probably on a Wednesday or something, so.
Oh my, you know what, that's like, that if you said that one is hilarious. Just it probably was on a Wednesday, and I realized I did the worst thing possible. Oh, that's very fun. No, that is truly funny. And I was just imagining the idea of you doing improv and like laying that line down, and I would be in the back, and I would have fallen over. Yeah, I'm not doing an impression of you, but
no,
I know
no, go ahead. You can do an impression.
No. An impression of you doing a character. It was probably on a Wednesday too. Like, I'm sorry.
So because I take my Robitussin out on Tuesdays.
But you take your Robitussin on Tuesday?
No, my rollers. My
your rollers. Okay, right.
Oh,
of course.
That's so fucking funny, Rich.
Well, I just want to say in terms of again, because we were talking just ever so briefly and alluding to your performance, you still have, I don't remember if you remember this, but you had a performance where you were like doing an impersonation of a friend. Like, it just came out naturally. I don't know if you remember this. I think your friend was there.
Oh, for one of the shows, was it during an improv show?
It was a two-prov. It was, yes. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
I was doing, so it's funny enough, I have ads on the show. And one of the ads is so she's getting 2 ads right now. One of them is for a product called Clasp for Your Mask. And it is my friend Julie's product, the one that I was doing the impression of, who talks like this, who wanted the meatballs. Yeah, she loved it. She was eating it up.
That was it was such it was a fully realized performance, and I was just like, I still think back to that because it was just like, it was everything.
Oh, thanks, Rich. Yeah, awesome. And she was right in the front row. Her and her fiance were right in the front row, so that was an extra treat. And she gave the suggestion, so I said, "You asked for it, Julie.
You asked for it." 100%.
That's so funny that she just like came up organically in this conversation. That's amazing.
Know. It was
That's amazing. So I have to ask, what are you doing during the pandemic to keep busy now that you're like not doing as many walks, probably not doing as much comedy, I'm assuming, because everything is virtual?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've been doing a lot of physical therapy. And yeah. I mean, I've been doing a lot of that, and yeah, I mean, occasionally some like Zoom Schneider. Ever go there?
Not yet.
Zoom Schneider. Oh my goodness, they got to bring back Zoom Schneider. Yeah, not too much comedy, but doing like some writing here and there. But yeah, no, I would say honestly this fall I was kind of is besotted a word? I don't even know if it's the right word in this context. It can be. Well, I was besotted just with like, I was just, kind of the whole, because like for me, like being outside and like, because everyone, myself included, was just inside for so long. Like I was just like, you know what? I am just going to commit to just being like, F this. Like, and so I ordered like seamless, like pretty much every meal for like 2 straight months. I was just like, I was like, all right, let's just do this and, powered through. But yeah, no, I've of late, I mean, I've been able to, I've gotten out of the boot, like physical therapy is going better, stuff like that. So that's definitely raised my spirits. But yeah, I just kind of checked out.
This sucks, right?
Yeah. Although one thing which I realized I didn't allude to was I was a part of, which occasionally comes up now and again. It's always gaggle. A gaggle of people would watch like bad movies at night.
Yes, so, like, FMT.
Yes. And that was up until I guess it was August or so. That what was it? The combination of like this, fun movie group where we're watching, Stephen Baldwin movies and, cracking jokes, that kind of like waned off. At the same time, I had this like foot issue. So I was in a boot and I had no consistent thing, other than being in a boot, ordering seamless and, pretty much throwing like a 2-month pity party. And, trying to figure out like, what's the next step with the foot and everything. So again, fortunately, because there was a point where I was like, oh man, am I going to have to get like reconstructive surgery? And then if so, where, because around that point, the apartment that I was in, I'm in a new apartment now, very nice.
I see that you have a screen door. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, it's insane. It's bananas. But at the same time,
where at for the stalkers? Could you tell us? Harlem, nice.
Harlem. Yeah. So I Aton,
the famous, the Levine machine.
Aton, the goalie, Levine machine, at this, at that. Aton always ends up getting a plug in anything, in any context. But so he pretty much, the other apartment was pretty much everyone was moving out of there. It had an elevator, so that was good for me at that time because I was in a boot and I was in the process of being like, all right, do I need to get reconstructive surgery? And do I need to move? And if so, at that time, I was like, I can't move to a place with stairs because it would just be like too much.
Yeah.
For a lot of October, I was just like, on top of course, like everything else macro, pandemic, politics, everything. I was just in a place of not sure where I was going to live, not sure of whether I needed like major surgery, not sure of my mobility, and all that stuff. And then fortunately, like things have worked out rather well. So that was good. But that's just like into where I was at.
Yeah. Well, the good news is you're still super funny.
Oh my God. You know what? Yeah. Oh, wait, you're there. You kind Balbosies.
Balbos. If you don't call me so Balbosies for the rest of my life, then you're no longer a friend.
Thank you so much. I also realize I need to do a lot of self-work because thank you again, in terms of like taking compliments, I tend to like either deflect or turn it into some type of opportunity to find some type of weakness or flaw in myself. So I'm going to take a moment and just thank you. Now I'm talking. See, I did it again. I just want to be like, I can't. It's tough for me to stay in one. But thank you, Rocky.
I'm like loving this vulnerable moment we're having right now. I'm living for it. Of course, I want to host a podcast that's funny but also vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like you just admitted such vulnerability, and I'm like here for it. You heard it here first, folks. That's great. No, it is. It's hard to take a compliment. I know because like they're just like always coming in my way. They're like these compliments. I'm like knocking them down. No, but it's hard to take a compliment because we want to just shit on ourselves and we can't.
I'm sorry. The fact that when I said and the nurse got me off of an apparatus, and then you're just going right like That's
for that one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, you have to be able to do that.
That is a comedy 203.
Yeah. I don't teach it, I write it. But no, it's hard. Do you meditate at all?
I go in and out. Both in terms of the act of meditation itself and the something that's also been frustrating with the whole foot thing is like I love movement.
Yeah.
But like like movement in the sense of I don't know, I like moving. Like I'm not a dancer, but I've done
but
enough
you're a mover.
Like, I'm a mover. Yeah. Like I've done enough of like, these movement, like 5 rhythms classes. And I don't know, I enjoy it. There are a lot of professional dancers there. And then there's me there who's just like throwing himself with the grace of a cow. I was also thinking of doing my cow meme story, but I was like, maybe another day.
Definitely have to, again, give you a compliment. So just brace yourself. The cow memes. So for people who are listening, Rich used to do this thing where he would have the same picture. Correct me if I'm wrong in any of this. It was the same picture of a sweet cow, just innocently in a pasture. And Rich would put a funny quip. Do you remember any of the quips off the top of your head?
Yeah, I think probably the one that got the most legs or moos was I'm so sorry. You know what? I'm so sorry.
All right, gotta
go. Was this? There was this gigantic of all things, an Australian steer, like a 7-foot tall cow-looking cow. But cow-looking cow. So like kind of a cow. Anyway, but so in this like herd, so it was this gigantic cow, and I think the caption I had was, "No, I don't. No, I've never played basketball." And that was the one that like got legs like beyond an immediate like friend circle.
Yeah.
Everything else, people are very kind. But how far in depth do I want to go? I'll condense it. I'll
condense milk it.
Oh my. That's legit. Okay. God damn it, Rocky. Balbosi's. So pretty much someone I knew from like growing up contacted me where he was like, "Hey man, I don't." He was like, "I'm doing social media for a cow startup."
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, man, cool. He was like, I'm not funny. Could you help me out? And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
We did previous to this, we did have a little bit of a back and forth where he more or less insulted me on Facebook, where he was or it wasn't even insult. We were just like trading like stuff back and forth.
Yeah.
But I admittedly was in a sensitive place, and I was like, I don't know about this guy. Anyway.
Yeah.
But he messages me out of the blue, and I was like, okay, man. So we were talking about like, making these cow memes or cow like tweets or something like that. And I make a whole bunch, and before that I was under the impression that I was going to get paid for this. Mm-hmm. And he emailed me back and was like, yeah, were you expecting like to get paid for each of these? And I was just like, oh man. I was like, oh geez. And that put me in a space where I just like got really deep into cow memes, and I wanted to make them like really good. So I got deep into meme culture.
Yeah.
And I started following all these meme accounts, Frank Sinatra, everything like that.
Yeah.
And I made like hundreds of memes. And then I email him and I get no response back. And I was just like, I have all this gold. I have all this cow gold.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, screw this. I just started posting them because I was like, I made all these cow memes. 2 months later, he messages me. He's like, hey, man, I'm sorry about all of that. I ended up getting fired because they closed like the company. And then basically there's a bit more of the story, but basically he was just like, hey, man, let me just Venmo you $15. And I was like, no, man, it's all right. He's like, yeah, no, let me do it. So yeah, I got $15 in the end for of hundreds of cow memes. So which I ended up posting.
Yeah. No, they were great. I looked forward because you were posting them daily. I looked forward to them.
And I was posting them during really March 15th. I started reposting them the beginning of all of the craziness of the pandemic because I was like, it was just crazy. And I was like, all right, cow memes are one thing I can control. So I started reposting them, did that for, I think like almost like, I don't know, 6 weeks straight. And then it kind of waned off. But
wow.
Yeah.
Well, people should go out there and research and look for your cow memes because they deserve to see the light of day. And if people want to reach you now or follow what you're doing, what is the best way for them to do that?
Sure. Probably at Rich Hunt Temp on Twitter or Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the best places to.
Not the Levine machine.
Not the no. Eitan always ends up getting a plug, and he just got another one, but not at Levine or LevineMachine.com or whatever. So, yeah, those are the best spots to see.
Well, Rich, I gotta say this was a badass jackass first episode. I'm so honored you were my first guest.
Well, I'm honored to be your first guest, and thank you for being such a delightful host. And I don't know.
You're a delight. You make me laugh.
Oh my God.
I think we make each other laugh.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I will say to you, meditate. Meditate every morning before you get out of bed.
100%.
100%. You'll be 100% rich, and it's the best.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. No,
yeah. You can do 5 minutes.
I gotta make start with 5.
Start with 5. Rich, thank you so much for being on this.
Thank you, Rocky.
You're the best. I'll have you back.
It's been a down to clown.
Were you gonna say a pun?
Well, I was trying to before I was gonna say I hope the cow memes aren't past your prime, which isn't even like grammatically correct. It's even dumb. It's not even good.
If I dipped, I'd be spitting right now.
You'd be spitting. Yo, do spittoons exist?
Yeah. I'll show you.
Okay, good.
No, imagine if I had one. I have a glass down here, but I've been afraid to drink water this whole time.
Whoa. Okay, that's fair. I dig that.
All right, Rich. Well, I love you, man.
I love you too.
Have a righteous rest of your pandemic.
Is it?